What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, you guys, and I am here today with a super duper late review for Tyler Perry's Sistas Season 7, Episode 18. And I think this episode was titled, Where Do Broken Hearts Go? So, before we even go ahead and get into it, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me that solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss this episode of Sistas, shall we? All right, guys. So this episode, it opens up with Andy going into her office, right? And Andy was crying. And my bad, you guys. One of my coworkers, she's texting me, but Andy was crying, and I was just sitting. What I will say is, like, I was so confused about the whole thing because here's my thing with Andy. So Gary took these pictures of you, not you, of Jordan, right? If you looked at those pictures, one, you could either say look doctored, or two, the man is either drunk or he's some kind of he's inebriated in some way, right? So I'm just like, girl, come on. Like, what are you doing? And we're gonna talk about, I guess we can talk about it now because it's still, this also doesn't make sense to me, right? So I get why Gary is telling Andy to marry him so that way she can't testify against him. But my other thing is, when it comes down to it, Penelope is still a part of the equation, and you push Penelope down. Penelope lost her baby, so you still have that against you. So I'm so confused by this whole situation. So Penelope called Andy up on the phone, and Andy, she wasn't really saying anything. And I was like, girl, why don't you tell her that, hey, so Gary bugged my home and Jordan's home, so he knows everything. And yeah, I opened my big ass mouth because your brother was, pissed off at me. But I guess that would be too much like right. I'm just, I don't know. So here's the thing with me and Sisters currently. I think one of my biggest issues with Sisters is the fact that I try to make logical sense out of crappy and terrible writing, and I think that that's something. If I could get out of my head with that stuff, maybe I could actually. And I was about to say maybe I can enjoy the show, but I don't enjoy it anymore because of that. But maybe I could actually tolerate doing the reviews. Uh, I don't know, you guys, but let me know what you guys think. So the next scene, we're at the bank with Sabrina and Maurice, and Maurice is being his usual self. I don't know what job you can go to and you can just be because I know Maurice is being facetious with the things that he does, but I just be looking like, I don't know what job you can go to where you can really just talk to your coworkers any kind of way, disrespect the people that come in. But hey, it's Maurice. It is Maurice. So Maurice is letting Sabrina know what's going on between him and Grayson. And it was just a bunch of nothing. And then there was this guy that came in that caught Maurice's eye. And I was like, here we go. I was like, what's going on with Maurice? Well, we know what's going on with Maurice and Grayson, but okay, I guess. Um, so let's keep moving, you guys. So we see Karen at the salon, right? And Karen was on the phone with Miss Lisa. And Karen, let's just be for real with each other. Let's be 100% for real with each other. When it comes to this stuff with you and Pam, you're jealous of Pam. What I'm so confused by is the fact that you're talking about you don't have any money, but yet the salon is booming. So what are you charging people to do their hair? Then number two, what are you charging people to do their hair? Number two, what are you charging for booth rent? Right? Like I'm so confused how Karen doesn't have any money. Now, I do agree with Miss Lisa to an extent that since Karen is, allowing Pam to house her products there, sell her products out of there, maybe she should sit down with Pam and have a conversation with Pam and be like, hey, maybe you should give me a little bit of a percentage of what you make, right? That's only right, especially if you think you're going to, because you can't store your stuff here for free and you can't sell out of my salon for free. And then you don't, when you come to work, you late, you don't do your job. So what am I actually paying you for? So I got that part. So also Karen is going to the doctor because I guess they're going to be doing a sonogram. And Ms. Lisa was trying to tell Karen that she should invite, Zach, Fatima, and Aaron. What I don't get when it comes to Karen is her now having this issue with Aaron wanting to be a model father. Girl, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But I don't I don't I don't get you guys. I don't know. I have no idea why she's doing this, right? But eventually, her mama did, like I said, talk to her into having them come down to this appointment. So we'll see how that plays out later in the episode, you guys. Uh, so what else do we have next? So we move back over to the bank. So this guy that has caught Maurice's eye, he works for the bank. He works for the newsletter. I believe that's what he said. So he wants to interview Sabrina, and Sabrina was like, she was reluctant at first, but then he got her into, he talked her into it. And so she was like, so where would we do this at? So he suggests a more intimate setting, like dinner. I was like, so you gonna do an interview over dinner? That's a little interesting, but I mean, okay. If that's how this works, then that's how that nah. Anyhow it worked. But you know what? Let's go on. Now, what really threw me for a loop was when he said that Sabrina was the first black woman to ever be branch manager. I was like, first of all, how old is this bank? Secondly, she's the first black woman ever in 2020 something, 23, 24. She's the first black woman ever. Oh, okay. I mean, I guess, right? So then we move over to Danny's crib, right? So over at Danny's crib, Tiffany shows up unannounced, knocking on her door. Danny is a lot better than me because I would have slammed that door right in Tiffany's face. Cause I'd be like, "Ooh, it looked like a bitch who didn't invite, who came over to my house uninvited, is at my door." And then she's gonna be like, "Well, the polite thing to do would be to invite me, and no, the fuck it ain't. The polite thing for you to do would have been to call and say, "Hey, can I come over to your place? I need to talk to you about such and such." That would have been a polite thing to do. And then she just bum rushed her ass into Danny's apartment. Baby, I would have slapped the shit out of Tiffany. I would have slapped all the teeth out of Tiffany's mouth. Because, baby, you ain't finna walk your ass into my place like she did, right? So, I see where the little girl gets the rudeness from. Now, I'm trying to figure out where she gets the sticky fingers from. Because that's what Tiffany's coming over here for. Because she found a vape, one of Danny's vape. She found Danny's vape pen, right? And I was looking at her like, ma'am, you coming at Danny because your daughter stole her vape pen. You need to talk to your child about that and tell her it's not right to go through people's things and take shit. She done took her vape pen and them handcuffs. Your daughter got a problem. Like your daughter's a thief, a kleptomaniac. You might want to nip that one in the bud, you and Tony. Now, we can talk about Danny real quick. Danny, if you agree, when you agreed to watch his kids, I know that they were already at your apartment when you got there, but You could have kept a better eye on those kids instead of letting that little girl go wandering around your apartment, right? That's what I will say when it comes to Danny. But Miss Tiffany, you can go. Really and truly, what it is with Tiffany is she wants, um, Tony back. Danny let her have him, and the fact that she keeps saying her husband, ma'am, are y'all divorced? Because if you're divorced, then that is in fact your ex-husband. But okay, girlfriend, shoot yourself. Go on ahead, knock yourself out, slap yourself silly, do whatever you want to do. I don't get it. So then we go over to the law office and we see Fatima. So Fatima went into Andy's office and she's like, "What's wrong, Andy?" She's like, "Nothing's wrong." She's like, "Andy, I've known you long enough to know that something's wrong." So Andy told her that Gary is trying to ruin her life. Girl, he's trying to do more than ruin your life. But okay, and she wouldn't say what it. I was like, Andy, just spit it out. Like Andy was pissing me off in this entire episode. Like she was really pissing me off. Also, I'm not trying to be funny or shady or nothing like this because I think KJ is a beautiful woman. But KJ, girl, I don't know what you've done to your face. It's not. I don't want to say it's not bad, but you definitely look different. You don't look the same. Like you've done something to your face, and I want us to stop playing with our face before it gets to a point where you're unrecognizable. That's all I'll say about that one. But yeah, you guys, let's keep moving. All right, you guys. So next up, we got Gary. When it comes to Gary, I am so confused with this whole Gary storyline because nothing makes logical sense. Because if Gary is being investigated by the FBI for fraudulent stuff, then why Bruh Man still in this office? And why is he not like I'm so confused. And I know that ain't a word, but I'm so confused with you guys. So Tamara brought her behind down to Gary's office. I guess she thought she was going to blackmail Gary. Gary paid her absolute dust. And I actually kind of laughed at this scene because it was actually funny to me, despite how I feel about Gary. Now, mind you, I thought Gary's last name was Borders. But when the woman called on the phone, she said Mr. Marshall Borders. Never mind. It is what it is. But I caught that. So Tamara asked Gary for $250,000. I was like, girl, he ain't got it. So then Gary was looking at her like, you think I'm gonna give your stank pussy having ass $250,000? I was like, oh, not her pussy stank. And then he told her it was loose. Then he asked her what she dropped on her head as a crack baby. I was like, Tamara, girl, take your whatever little bit of dignity you do have and walk out this office. She didn't. Gary was able to kiss her. He said when he kissed her, he said, I know I can still have your tired ass. I was like, Tamara, girl, again, please leave because you ain't got no dignity at this point. You have no dignity at this point. And then she spit at him. Now, I ain't some that is the one thing that would turn me all the way off and be ready to fight you spitting. Ugh. But yeah, Tamara, good luck to your sister girl. So then we move over to Zach. So little Michael is sick, right? And he was talking to Fatima, letting her know, like, hey, actually no, he got a phone call from Karen to come down to the doctor. And so she also invited Fatima. He was like, okay, cool. So he says, he was surprised by it, but he was happy that she did it. And then after that scene, we move over to Danny. Now, Danny girl, Danny. I love Danny. Danny wasn't wrong about some of the things that she said to Tony about their daughter, that they do need to combat her stealing. But then when she was talking about, calling her a little fast ass, I was like, girl, that is his little fast ass daughter, but that's gonna be a problem between Tony and Danny going forward. Them kids, I can foresee it. Like I can definitely foresee that being an issue with those two. But I do have an issue with Tony. Them, it's like y'all want you and both. Tiffany want to sit here and try to make out Danny as the bad person when in actuality, your daughter is the one that stole from her. So why aren't we talking about your kid? But okay, cool. So then after that, we move over to the law office. So Zach called Fatima to let her know that Karen, would let them come to the doctor. And Fatima was like, "Well, I got a work emergency, so she can't come." And so he was talking about Michael being sick, and she was like, "Well, find a baby, find somebody to watch him." He asked her, "Did she know anybody?" I was like, "Zach, why can't you call your homies? Don't one of your friends, which you guys know, I started it was Zatima, but I stopped watching Zatima. But I'm like, don't one of your friends have ain't one of his friends married? You guys can correct me, but you can't call nobody. But okay, cool. It is what it is, right? Now back to Andy real quick. I don't know why Andy has been so tight-lipped about this situation with Gary. Like it ain't like he got your office bugged, and I'm still confused how he had your house, your penthouse bugged. Because the last time that we saw Gary in Andy's penthouse, he was pleasuring himself to her underwear. But okay, whatever. So then we see Danny. So Danny went down to Karen's salon and she wanted to have a conversation with Karen. This, I will say, was very mature of both Danny and both Karen. So they both sat down with each other and they both were able to apologize to each other. And I will say that they both have some very valid points with what they said, right? And I'll start up with Danny real quick. So with Danny is very valid in her feelings when it comes to Karen. Because when you look at the sister circle, I think I've said this plenty of times before with the sister circle. There's two subsections of friendship. They're all a collective, but then you have two different groups, right? Danny and Sabrina are closer than Danny is to Karen or to Andy. And Andy and Karen are closer than to, Sabrina or Danny, right? But also when it comes down to them, I feel like they pass judgment on Danny. I feel like, they treat Danny like the fat, funny friend. And then on top of that, I remember, I forget which season it was, but I know that I did not review that season finale because of the way that they treated when they went to Danny's apartment and when they were trying to go off on Danny, when they were trying to have that little intervention with Danny. I was like, each one of y'all have issues that y'all are not addressing, but y'all want to come down on Danny because of her messing with different men. Andy, at that time, you were having your issues with Gary, still having issues with Gary currently. Karen, what was Karen's issue in that season? Because was she pregnant? I can't remember. I, what was the issues with Karen? I know it was this situation with Zach and Fatima and Aaron. And then with Sabrina, it was a situation with Calvin. She couldn't say if she wanted to be with Calvin or not want to be with Calvin. But they all wanted to jump on Danny. Now, let's talk about Karen real quick, because Karen has very valid points with Danny. Danny is not trustworthy because you went and told Zach to get a paternity test. You went and also you went and told Sabrina my business before I could even tell her. So yeah, and then I know Karen said that she's gonna stop trying to tell them, about hanging out with Fatima. Here's my thing with Karen: it's like you have this big, huge beef with Fatima, but Fatima ain't really done nothing to you. Fatima did nothing to you. Fatima got with Zach. She didn't know anything about you. She was not friends with you. She was cool with Andy, but she didn't know you. So I still don't understand the situation with Fatima and Karen. I think it boils down to with Karen is that Karen had, and I've said this plenty of times with Karen about Karen. Karen had the worst version of Zach, the broke, cheating, lying version of Zach, right? And Fatima got this family man with money and wants to have a family. And I think that that's a bit of contention and jealousy for Karen. You guys can agree or disagree. I know how people feel about Karen, and that is all I got to say. Moving back over to Zach. Remember, I told you Zach is looking for somebody to watch Michael. So Deja came in, and I was like, Zach, you not finna do what I think you finna do, are you? He was like, yep. I was like, oh. He asked Deja to watch um Michael. I was like, you do know that Fatima can't stand Deja. This is gonna be your ass, Zach. This is gonna be your ass. But hey, he had her watch Little Michael, and he left. And I was like, good luck with that. So then, in a very weird and kind of unprofessional scene, everything about this scene is unprofessional. Hayden, Ms. Marie, who gets on my nerves, and Andy. So Hayden is telling Ms. Marie that he's 100% sure that he can find something on her husband about her cheating on him. And I was like, diphthong, dum dum, didn't you just sleep with her in a hotel room? And she's like, and she's over here all happy talking about, yeah, if he cheats on me, that'll negate her pre and post nuptial agreement. I was like, man, you already desecrated on that. Like, you slept with Hayden. If you're going, I mean, you guys are going through a freaking divorce. Why would you be Hayden and this woman? Why are y'all both so stupid to sleep with each other? Hayden, you're an attorney, but it proves that you're not a divorce attorney like Andy is because, well, hell, she ain't that great of a divorce attorney either because she was sleeping with Gary when he was going through his divorce with Jasmine. So never mind, never mind, because I don't know what attorney would do that because I'm sure an attorney would have a PI following that person. And Ms. Marie went to a hotel room late, and then you see her attorney come to her hotel room late at night. Never mind. See, this is my problem. Then Pam came down there being hella unprofessional, peddling her roots to riches or whatever the hell it is. And she told Ms. Marie that she her shero, and that was really all it is. What I will say for Andy and for Hayden, it'll be better for you two. I know you guys want to be a named partner, but it would be better for you guys if you actually work together instead of worked against each other. Then we move over to the hospital with Karen. Child, I was looking at that baby bump. It looks like they done put a birthday cake on her stomach. Because that thing is hideous, grotesque. Oh my God, it's ugly. Can't even see her belly button. Wait, she don't have a belly button. I'm rewatching the episode while I'm doing this review. She don't even have a belly button. And most women had that black line, not always, but most women had that black line that go up their stomach. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Uh yeah, I don't know. That's all I got for that scene. So then we see as Fatima got back home and Deja was still there. And Fatima's looking like, girl, what the hell you doing in my house? And then she told her that Zach didn't tell you. She was like, Zach didn't tell me what. That she said, well, he asked me to watch Michael. We've been having fun. His favorite color is yellow. She told her, girl, get the fuck out of my house. I was like, Deja, when you heard Fatima, you should have just ran for the hills. You should have ran for the hills, girlfriend. But that was really all that we got with that scene. So then we see as Zach got home, and Fatima was like, she was all calm and cool. But basically, she told him, don't you ever have that thought in my house again. And she was like, you could have called Angela. I was like, don't Angela have a job? Angela got a job, right? Angela got a job because she worked in the same building that Andy and them work in. So how in the hell could he called Angela up? But okay, girl. I mean, I guess, I guess. Then the last two scenes of the episode, you guys. The last two scenes of the episode, this storyline with Sabrina, it's nonsensical. It's so nonsensical. The stuff with Rich makes no sense. I don't understand why Sabrina is still entertaining his relationship with Rich, and Rich doesn't want to have kids. And then Rich showed up to this dinner date that she was on, being all jealous. And she let him know that this man works for the bank. He works for the newsletter. He's like, oh, but then this man is talking about he wants to have kids. He wants to have kids. Like, oh my God. I was just like, okay, cool, cool, whatever. What the hell ever? Why are we watching this? What is this scene? Then the worst scene of the episode was Andy. Andy went over to Jordan's place to break up with him. And I was just sitting here so confused, like, girl, girl. You could have broke up with him, but you could have did Morse code, you could have did sign language, you could have did anything to tell him, like, hey, I want to break up with you, and just point around like the place is whisper, the place is bugged. It's bugged. Let's go outside and talk. Or point to your phone and say, let me text you something. I'm gonna text you or anything. But no, she didn't do that. She didn't do that. But that's the episode, you guys. Sorry if this video was late. Let me know what you guys think about this episode down in the comments section below. You guys subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.